Hey, so a while back I made a video about this book, How to Draw Comics the Marvel Way. I recorded it, edited it, and made a thumbnail for it, prepared it for YouTube, and totally forgot to upload it. I never posted it, and I have no idea why, but that's what happened. So I wanted to share that video with you, but I wanted to let you know it's a little bit of an older video, so the video quality and the audio quality isn't quite as well done as some of my more recent videos, but the content is good, so I want to share it with you anyway. Like a lot of artists my age, I was super influenced by comics at a young age, and as I got further along in my fine arts career, the differences between fine arts, comics, illustration, animation, it all became meaningless. Good art is good art, and there is a lot of good art in comics and animation. So much to learn there. And while you know that I love my fine arts anatomy and drawing books, I think that illustration and animation are really underestimated and understudied areas in learning about figure drawing and representational art. There are definitely some books that I wouldn't recommend, like this one. But anyone who follows this channel knows that I'm a huge fan of Sean Martin Burroughs' How to Draw Noir comics. I have a video on it and reviewed it, and I can share that here or somewhere. So before I get into the video, I want to share with you like a little rundown of some of the books in this vein of animation and illustration that have really impacted me. Like for instance, these books on drawing for animation, like The Animator's Workbook by Tony White. Super good. Or The Animator's Survival Kit by Richard Williams. Also excellent. And Drawn to Life by Walt Stanchfield. Sorry. Can recommend all three of those. Or these books on comic book drawing, like Wizards, How to Draw, Advanced Techniques. It's a little goofy. It's a little bit comics focused. It's a little bit stylized, but it's super good. There's a lot of really good, I wouldn't say tips, but just drawing advice in this book. Dick Giordano's Draw Comics, excellent advice from a super veteran. Scad's Foundations in Comic Book Art. This book is really comprehensive and really good. And of course, Perspective for Comic Book Artists. Everybody needs to learn perspective, and David Chelsea will help you out with that quite a bit. And I love books about comics art as well. Any book by Will Eisner is going to help you understand comics and art in any genre more and better and thoroughly and really interestingly. So read up on Will Eisner, super valuable stuff. And Scott McCloud's Understanding Comics is just a vital thing to read, no matter what kind of field of art you're going into. This covers so many concepts that transcend comics, but are really, really the root and fundament of comics work. So really recommend all of these. But those aside, we're going to take a look today at How to Draw Comics the Marvel Way. So let's get into it. Welcome to the Infinite Surface Podcast, Fat Stacks. Today we're going over Stan Lee and John Buscema's How to Draw Comics the Marvel Way. Let's get started. Now I'm especially excited to go over this because this was probably my first drawing book. I found it in the local library back probably in the early 90s. And I was looking for comics. I just wanted to read comics, and they had a few Spider-Man comics, but they had this one bound in leather. And I was able to rent it, and I took it home with me. And the thing that I really like about this book is that it's, like I've been talking about in some of my other reviews, it's really just a drawing book. It's a drawing book with the subject matter of superheroes. So a lot of the Loomis books, the other books that I've gone over, those are drawing books with the subject of the human figure as it relates to fine arts. This is as it relates to comic book arts. So it's just a slightly different subject, but it goes over the same stuff in a slightly different way. And I always loved this drawing. I thought this was such a beautiful drawing to start the book with. And I love all the details and I used to have a lamp like this. These are really beautiful lamps. And, this drafting table and this little jar of tools. I love it. And this section is pretty predictable in books from this time period and before. It's the tools of the trade kind of pages, and it dates the book, right? We have nibs and brushes and ink and ink jars and triangles and things like this. And of course, all of this is well pre-digital. So it's not talking about digital methodologies at all. And so that's missing. But there is an updated version, which was printed much more recently, which we'll go over later, Stan Lee's How to Draw Comics. And I recommend these books maybe for different reasons. This one, I find the images are a bit too stylized and I think are a little bit distracting, but there's a lot of great information in here, some of which is pretty much plucked right out of the first, and then some of which is updated for a more modern audience. But they have really good examples in this one. This book is, first of all, it's in full color. It's got better, it's got some better examples. Has historical examples too, which I appreciate. It's not just modern stuff. So this stuff gets really stylized and I think a little bit away from fundamentals. So it's kind of training you in a style of a way to draw, which the other book claims to do and does eventually, I guess, because it starts to get into Jack Kirby and stuff like that. But John Buscema's drawing style is just so fundamental. So I like it because, like we were talking about in the Loomis review, it starts off with a lot of fundamentals, right? So the first kind of real chapter where they're talking about drawing is just straight up how to draw simple objects in space conversation. And I feel like the conversation is really clear. It's really easy to understand. The examples are fantastic. They're not as great or as diverse in books that really expand on this kind of chapter. Like Arthur Guptill's book has more examples, I think, and a little bit more clear how to make them more artistic. But these are great. This handgun is gorgeous. This car is really nice. Just these simple exercises. And really the thing is I remember when I did have this book, I really didn't spend the time copying these. I really didn't spend the time reversing them or trying to invent them. I just kind of felt like, okay, I saw that and I understand and I moved on, but that's really not how it works. It doesn't work like, oh, I understand. You have to be able to do it. I always make the analogy to shooting a basketball where it's like someone can explain to you what proper form is all day, but until you can actually shoot the basketball, that's just no point in discussing it. So here, like, I really should have, as a kid, gone through these exercises more clearly, but I didn't have any guidance and I was just looking at these books on my own. So I just sped through some of this stuff, and things like this, being able to draw different lighting effects on spheres and on cubes and stuff like that. It's really important to be able to do that with no problem whatsoever. You should be able to do that with literally no hesitation and full confidence. So once you can do that, you can definitely approach things like figures much more easily. Here they start to get into the stylization, where you start to see forms inked in different ways with these Jack Kirby references, but they right away go back into the power of perspective. And this reminds me of the format of Loomis's Successful Drawing book, where he really dwells on perspective for a while. And so they give these examples of street scenes and things like that, and they're pretty useful, and you should be able to start inventing these a lot. Here's like interiors, those are really important as well. And of course, it starts to get into more complicated shapes like tire shapes and things like that, which are important for cars. Then it starts to get into panel layouts where this might be relevant, which is really good to see. And then it says, okay, let's study the figure. So we have a quick kind of proportion section, which I think is much more well gone over in many other books. Of course, including how to use and think about proportion to kind of accurately construct a figure, especially if they're getting out of the standing reference pose. So I think probably this is not the best chapter, and we want to look at other books. These drawings are good, and they talk a little bit about proportion and how that works. I love this. I copied this drawing many times when I was a kid, and I really see the difference between this unanimated drawing and this animated drawing. It's such a great example. I loved both of these drawings as well. I thought they were really great and really got interested in it. So now it's like, okay, let's draw the figure. And so now it's getting into gesture drawing. And here again, I think that this is not that it's too underdeveloped, but I think that it just could be more thought all the way through, I guess. And it's just not long enough of a chapter. So here I would definitely return to Loomis, or I would look at something like Figure Drawing Design and Invention by Michael Hampton to get a better sense of, these kind of shapes and how they're useful, or even the boxy shapes that they're going to talk about later. But I like how they go through it here, and they start to discuss, this is really beautifully illustrated, and I think it's really great how they go through this step by step. And this is something that you'll see more in an animation book and start to understand anticipated action and follow through and all these kind of things, and how that relates to figure drawing and action poses. And that's really, really great to be going through. I think it's really important. So here we have some gesture drawings with action poses. These are fantastic. And of course, the main goal is that you be inventing these in real time, right? That you start to be comfortable sketching these out in proportion, in relationship to what your intention is, right? And your style is. So this is a good place to start, and I really value this book for that. I think that you can follow up. It's a great sort of introduction to it. And then if you follow that up with something like Michael Hampton's book, or Andrew Loomis's book, or again Mike Mattesi's book, those in kind of sequence and combination, you really get a pretty solid introduction as long as you're drawing along with it. So here, great, we're into perspective, and we're starting to discuss how these rectilinear forms set you up for success with having a figure standing in space. And there are some action poses again, and of course it's really heavy in these action poses, right? Because it's a comic, it's about comic books, right? So it's trying to focus on what was popular at the time, and of course with our expanded notion of comics, this is only about superhero comics, right? There's many comics that don't need these kind of poses but still use comic stylizations. So here, human head, this is basically a truncated, abbreviated Loomis method, which skips a lot of the important details of constructing the Loomis method. So look for my review on Drawing the Heads and Hands by Andrew Loomis to see where that lays that out like really completely and with full detail. But we have good proportion of the face here. It's just a sort of beginner's book. I think it's made for kids and teenagers. So if you think of it like that, even if you're an adult, it's like, okay, if you're starting to draw or if you're looking to tune up your fundamentals, I don't think of any of this stuff as beyond me or my skill sets. So I look back to it all the time and really value what I see here. Fell in so much love with this drawing when I was a kid. I don't know why, but I loved it so much, and I actually copied these and asked. I made posters out of them, and asked the local comics retailer if he would buy or trade these drawings that I had made that I had copied for some of the comics in the shop, and he politely declined. So more head construction, pretty good stuff. What I like about it is it's a bit simplistic. I think it gets a little bit trite in moments, a little bit uniform, but I think it's a good kind of building block. If you can understand this stuff, there's a lot of places you can go as long as you don't become too satisfied with your output being like these drawings. Because I think there's a lot more to do with a face than just what they lay out here. So here's some features, and then we get into, and I think this is where this book gets really interesting and really good, which is composition. And we're going to talk a lot more about composition when we review this important comics book, How to Make Comics book, which is called How to Draw Noir Comics. And this is fantastic by Sean Martinborough. I love this book so much. This book really, I think, changed the way I perceive a lot of kind of arts, not just comic arts. So I really have a lot to thank to Sean Martinborough for this book. But continuing here, I think these are great examples of how the panel is sort of broken down and thought through in these big geometric shapes, and the way that they lay it out is so clear and so beautiful. I think it's really powerful stuff, and it's really important to pay attention to, and I think this is what a lot of drawers miss when they get over-focused on figure construction or on anatomy or on how to just draw things, and they forget that the most important and most powerful element of picture making is composition, right? And things like a figure is just an element in composition, right? So it's very important that you keep that kind of a hierarchy. And so I think it's okay that this is at the end of the book. I don't think that just because hierarchically this is the most powerful or most important element that it needs to be in the beginning of the book. But it's a good place for it to kind of break down and say, okay, those gestures that you were looking at before, well, they fit in this space, right? So you're defining this space as the place where those gestures then go, and this is how you compose an image, whether you're working digitally or manually like this. Really love this about perspective angles and how much more interesting these images are than these two images. I think this is really powerful stuff, really, really important to understand. So once you develop an eye for this, once you get sort of trained and focused on this, I think it's really a thing that can propel you forward in any kind of art making, not just comics. At least for me, this is how I think about my paintings. This is how I think about my big fine art drawings. And this is how I think about my sculptures. So there really is a fundamental here that I think transcends comic books. So as we move through this composition stage, they're talking more and more about it. I think it's really worth reading all this stuff and analyzing these pages and then drawing your own with these principles. Really great stuff. So then it comes on to the comic book cover, and this is pretty much the same conversation where it's like a compositional conversation with a bunch of examples and then how it goes from rough to finish. So this is just a really nice little process section. And then we talk about inking, and this I think is again translatable, especially since we see all of these great Kirby examples. And while this stuff might have gone out of fashion in certain ways, I just think that these compositions are so powerful and so interesting, and so interesting to see the difference between this kind of line art, this kind of solid compositional black art, and this one with grays, and what the difference is and how they affect the eye differently, so that an artist that's developing a style can really start to choose, right? How do they like the image to look? And then look at something like this, and this is what we'll start to get into when we look at Arthur Guptill's book, Rendering in Pen and Ink, or Rendering in Pencil, where we really start to talk about value structure. And Sean Martinborough goes over this really well in his book also. So this is a great sort of primer. I really recommend this book as an introductory to some of the other books that I think go in deeper and more expansively. But I don't think that this is a book to skip, even though it's a little bit dated and maybe the style doesn't seem perfect for you. I really recommend it. So please do check out How to Draw Comics the Marvel Way by Stan Lee and John Buscema. Thanks for watching the Infinite Surface podcast, Fat Stacks, on How to Draw Comics the Marvel Way by Stan Lee and John Buscema. I hope you liked the book, and I hope you liked the video. And if you did like it, then I hope that you like it. And subscribe so that you can get alerts about upcoming content, new book reviews, interviews, and educational content. So look out for it on the Infinite Surface podcast.